Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast, sponsored by Fightback CBD. Get 15% off your CBD order at fightbackcbd.com with code JJD. I guess we'll call this the quarantine show. All right, I'm here by myself today. We were going to have Junior at least come in, but he's been traveling, so we just thought it would be a good idea to not have anybody else come in today. So Milton Camp is here, Purple Belt, Fight Sports, Coral Springs. Everybody that's listening out there or watching, stay tuned to the end of the episode. We're going to talk a little bit about the giveaways and some things that have changed. But right now, we're going to dive right in with Jason Scully, who you see here on the screen. He's a Jiu-Jitsu black belt and founder of the Grapplers Guide. Welcome, Jason.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, glad to have you here. Thank you for doing this. I know this is kind of like a weird time, but this weirdness is kind of what made me reach out to you because of the coronavirus and the social distancing, the gym's closing. You actually put out a video. It was titled BJJ Academy Quarantine Project that sparked me to leave a comment. And people that know me or listen to the show know that I've been mentioning your videos since we started. I used them since I was a white belt. I'm 6 years in. I'm a purple belt again. But you know, been watching you for so long. I was just sitting on the couch having my coffee one morning, doing what I do, and I put you on just to see what I was. I like the 55 moves and 7 minutes videos. Those just really work for me. I can always catch something new and then work on that in the gym. And I came across the quarantine video. So just as a little tease there, we're going to come back to that. Let's start at the beginning. Okay. Run down your resume, rank, where you're training now. Give us a little, just your background in jiu-jitsu, period.
I am a third-degree black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I've been training for 19 years, so I'm approaching that two-decade mark.
Wow.
I started February 19th, 2001. I remember the exact day that I signed up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember signing the paper. I remember the first submission I was ever. Yeah, I remember the first submission I was ever caught in. So it was just like a pretty cool experience. I had a wrestling background before then.
Okay.
And I was basically like, man, this is like wrestling, but I get to choke people.
Yeah.
Especially when I got choked with the gi first, I was like, is this allowed? I thought they were cheating. Like, I was like, you could do that with the clothes. So it just kind of blew my mind. So yeah, so it's been about 19 years. I got my black belt from Jared Weiner. Jared was Lloyd Irvin's first black belt.
Okay.
Obviously that's a controversial name. But it was when I started training with Jared, it really, the whole team taught me how to grind. So that completely changed my perspective of competitive jiu-jitsu. And just throughout my career of jiu-jitsu, I got my belt from a different instructor every single rank.
Oh yeah? Oh really? Wow.
Yeah, as well. Yeah, I started running my own academy as a blue belt.
Okay.
In about 2004, and then I ran an academy for about 10 years. Sold my academy about 7 years ago, so I could do everything strictly online. I am known as the internet stalker, pretty much.
Stalker?
No, I call myself that. I call myself that because it's hard to be online in jiu-jitsu and not see me somewhere.
Okay.
Right?
You pop up.
There's through Facebook ads. Yeah. So I just kind of joke around and I call myself that. I'm like the internet guy,
Okay.
But fortunately, I've really been fortunate to get a lot of positive feedback throughout the years.
So that's actually one of my questions. I know when I first started, again, I think June will be 6 years. I started right before my 41st birthday. In the beginning, I mean, that's not that long ago. You've been doing videos, online videos, I think you told me since 2006, right?
2006 is when I started my online ventures just in general. That's when I started teaching myself internet marketing, email marketing, YouTube. I just went through the whole rabbit hole of internet marketing.
Yeah.
And my first YouTube video was 2006. And actually, for the longest time, it ended up being one of the most popular YouTube videos for jiu-jitsu for a while.
So when I first started watching your videos, and I mean, I found you like right in the beginning. Like, as soon as I started, let me go look at that move that my coach just taught me. I feel like when I first started to tell my coach at that time that I was watching videos, he didn't like it. At that time, nobody liked it at that time, right? It was like a no-no from the coaches.
Yeah.
Right. I kind of feel like there was always that alternative, that there was a reason. There was a reason that they didn't like it. And it was because was it more because you were getting training from someplace else, or like, hey, I don't want you to find a scary move and you hurt somebody? What's your sense of that?
I think most of it is ego, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, I'm your instructor. You should be following what I'm saying. You're at my academy. You shouldn't be doing anything else. That was my perspective in general when it came to basically saying don't learn things from YouTube, right?
Okay.
Because they can just say, hey, okay, what did you learn? Show it to me, and they can either say, hey, that's a good idea, or it's not a good idea, or say something like, hey, I kind of like the direction it's going, but let me show you how to make it better. They can actually piggyback off of the YouTube videos and make their students better off of them as well. But from my experience, it just seemed like it was an ego thing where they're like, no, I don't want you learning from YouTube. Mm-hmm. Now, back then, especially when I first started making YouTube videos, most of the videos were bad, right? Because there were blue belts and purple belts making YouTube videos for the most part. But also the reality of it is, you may have learned too, you can learn from most people, right? It either works or it doesn't. So if you learn something on YouTube, whether it's taught by a blue belt or a purple belt or a brown belt or a black belt, if you try it in training and it works, it works. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really matter who taught it at that moment. But it was just interesting because I went through the experience of, instructors being like, oh, you shouldn't watch YouTube. You shouldn't do this. But to be honest, in my 19 years of jiu-jitsu, most of the stuff I've learned was either through self-exploration or through videos.
In the beginning, my coaches, he didn't like it. And I did get the sense it was more of, well, if you're getting it there, you might not need me. So, that's, kind of an extension of the ego, I guess. But very quickly, he knew I wasn't going to stop. And I was his first student. My coach that I started training with was a family friend, opened his gym. We traded actually marketing services for jiu-jitsu lessons. I stuck with him for a long time, for a couple of years. His gym closed. But during that time, he just kind of gave into it. He just said, all right, what have you been looking at? And I used to bring my iPad. There was a point where I'd bring my iPad. It would just be me and him training. I'd put a video on, whether it was yours or something else that I found, and I'd say, I want to learn how to do that. And it was usually an extension of something that he had taught me anyway. Because again, What I tell people on the show, especially when we get listener questions, it's exactly that. I didn't just go like try to find the crazy moves, which you do. You come across stuff, but I would I would Google or search in YouTube the move that he just showed me. And I'd figure out what I was doing wrong or how I could do it better, or the little variations that extended from that, and which is, why your videos resonated with me, because, oh, wow, bottom guard, bottom half guard. I could just see all these, oh, wow, my leg is always there. Why aren't I doing that? And he just gave into it. So I'd have my iPad off to the side of the mat, and I'd show him the video, and then he'd show me his take on it. And he just kind of became okay with it. But switching gyms and working with other people and coaches, again, you kind of usually find that they don't love it. The excuse that I have gotten in the past is a little bit more like, I don't want you doing something crazy and hurting somebody. But again, I think for the most part, I agree with you.
And what you mentioned, exactly, but what you mentioned that your coach ended up doing is exactly what I described.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So he used it as a way of saying, okay, you're watching these videos. Let me see how I can make you better off of watching these videos. So instead of saying, no, don't watch these videos, you're saying, okay, I'm going to coach you with these videos as a supplement, and I can guide you in the proper direction.
Yeah.
And with the videos that I made where it's like 1 million moves in 5 minutes, that's really the perfect thing where you can say, hey, like this person did this move, it this like clip for 5 seconds, can you show me how to do it, right? Because I'm not teaching you anything in those videos. I'm literally giving you a demo. So in my opinion, coaches should love those videos because it's basically saying, here's an idea, take it to your coach and ask your coach about that idea so you can figure out how to do it, essentially. Because you're not going to learn like the nitty-gritty details off of those videos.
Yeah.
It's just going to open up your mind a little bit. It's just going to give you perspective. And that was the biggest thing about those videos. And I think that's why people like them so much, is because it gave you perspective. And the reality of it is, watching YouTube videos is like smoking crack. Like, seriously. Your coach can tell you.
Never heard anybody put it that way before.
Your coach can tell you as much as they want to stop smoking that crack, right? But it's super hard to stop.
Yes, it is.
And also the reality of it is, anytime somebody tells you, especially as a grown adult, 40-something years old, right, or whatever, as soon as somebody tells you that you shouldn't be doing something, in your mind you're like, what? Like,
I'm gonna go do that.
and you're gonna keep doing it.
Guess I know what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like,
as somebody who then I also coached there, I coached the kids classes. My coach was in law enforcement, so sometimes he'd be like, I'd get a call at 4:30 on the way home from work. He's like, you got to open the school for me today. And it was just like, go train, whatever. I'd stop, I'd sit before the kids showed up, and I would pull up one of your videos and say, it would give me ideas on how to coach. So from the training perspective, and albeit they were kids, and sometimes I would do the adult classes, even as like a 4-stripe white belt, new school. So almost everybody was behind me. It was all new, new white belts. I would use it for ideas as a coach. So I think it resonated with me from both sides. But so, okay, let's go back to the gym. So you stopped running did you stop running your gym to do the Grapplers Guide, or, was there any reasoning behind it? Because we're going to be talking about how, gym owners now, what they're going through, but was it specifically for that, to run this business, to run the Grapplers Guide?
Yeah, it was to run the Grapplers Guide. So I ran a gym for about 10 years. I don't even remember exactly how long it was. And I started running it when I was a blue belt, and it was based out of necessity, essentially. So like, we split with an instructor, and like, I didn't really have anywhere to train, and I was helping somebody with their website, with the academy that they had at the time. And they were like, hey, you want to be a part of it and be like a 50-50 partner? And I was like, sure. I was like, okay, now I'll be a business owner. I'll be a gym owner. And then I'll always have a place to train for free, basically.
Yeah.
So I just kept building that up, and I ended up being successful with my gym, and I was, making a living. I was making money. I was able to pay my bills, but I never stopped doing the internet at the same time, right? Because I started running a gym around, I want to say like 2004. I started learning about the internet marketing, ad marketing, just everything about internet marketing in 2006. So it was they were both coming up together. And then 2011, I had my big break in the internet marketing world. And then I just started making a good amount of income in comparison to my gym. And I was still making decent income there. And then there was a point where I just decided, sometimes there's a point in life where you choose to make life changes based on quality of life, right? So for me, quality of life is everything. I don't, whether we live another life past this or not, who knows? But for me, quality of life right now is what's the most important. So I was like, man, I'm doing so well online. I do have this gym and it's successful, but what would it be like if I didn't have to show up to a building anymore? Right? What would it be like if I didn't have to walk in and teach a class anymore? Where I can wake up whenever I want. I can do this whenever I want. I could choose to take off whenever I want. I was like, what would that be like? And I was like, if I'm going to try that, now is the time.
So can I ask, what was the big break? I don't mean to interrupt you, but go back. You said you had your big break in 2006. What was that big break? Oh, I'm sorry, 11. Okay. You said I had a big break.
It was those videos.
It was those videos taking off?
The videos were my... Yeah, because what happened was I made a video in 2006. I was a blue belt. It was like 50-something close guard moves in however many minutes. I don't even know if I titled it that. I don't even know if I titled it that way. The first video I've ever made like that was in 2006. I was a blue belt. I don't know if you know mixedmartialarts.com. At that time, it was MMA.tv, I believe.
Okay.
And somebody asked a question on the forum, because I've been active in the forums forever, and they said, hey, what's your favorite close guard techniques? And at that time, I was studying Barrett Yoshida and really working on close guard. So I just took one of my training partners, I had a camera, and I said, hey, can I just run some moves here? And I didn't even realize I did 50 moves. Like, I didn't have an outline or anything of I just literally blasted whatever was in my brain and recorded at that moment as a blue belt of everything that I like to do from close guard. I put it up on YouTube, and then it got very popular. It was the only video like that for a long time. I remember I even went to the 2007, I think it was 2000. When was the Abu Dhabi in New Jersey? I forget.
I think 2007, before my time in Jiu-Jitsu, I think.
So I went to the Abu Dhabi when it was in New Jersey, because I live in New Jersey, and I was a purple belt at the time, and I had people coming up to me being like, "Are you Jason Scully? Oh man, I love that video." It was like, I love that video. Like, and I'm like, I'm this purple belt. Like, and I'm like, it was kind of a surreal situation. So then in 2011, I had this epiphany where I was like, man, if this video is so popular, what would happen if I redid it? It was better quality, and I just talked over it. So I redid the video, and within, I want to say, like 2 months, it got just as many views that it took about 5 years for that original video to get. So then I was basically like, okay, so this took off so well, let me make another one. And then that took off, and I was like, let me make another one. And then because it was such a unique idea at the time, it just kind of like, it was getting posted all over. It was getting posted on Bloody Elbow. It was getting posted on pretty much every single popular jiu-jitsu and MMA site all over the world. And at that moment, I'm all about opportunity. Like, if you've ever read the book Outliers, right? So basically,
I know the book. I have not read it.
One of the biggest premises, a lot of people quote the 10,000 rule with Outliers, right? The 10,000 hour rule, right? But one of the things that really sticks out for me when I read the book Outliers is the ability of taking advantage of opportunity, right? You take advantage of the opportunity, of the time you're in, of the circumstances that are given to you. You either take advantage of them or you don't, right? And me, the way my mind always is if I see an opportunity, I take it. So it was the outlier principle where I was like, man, this is my time. Right, so this is my time. I already made the Grapplers Guide in 2007, so it already existed. Okay, that was another outlier thing as well, because I could talk about that either later or
we'll get to that as well.
Yeah. So basically, I was like, man, this is my time. So then I really started promoting the Grapplers Guide, and then because people saw those videos, and they basically, I guess they thought of me as like the encyclopedia of jiu-jitsu. Okay. And I told people, I was like, listen, this isn't, whatever I'm showing you online is the stuff that I know this stuff. So you can ask me about it. It doesn't really matter. I'll tell you about it. Like, there's so much jiu-jitsu in my brain. Yeah. It's like ridiculous. And then I started promoting the Grapplers Guide. People just kept signing up. And the thing is they enjoyed the Grapplers Guide. They're like, oh, wait a second. He doesn't just have these million videos in 5 minutes. He actually teaches techniques, and they liked it. I was very fortunate that they liked the stuff that I taught. Now, I'm not going to say I'm like the best instructor or online instructor, but I'm just fortunate that people enjoyed it, and they just kept recommending it to others. And then I just started doing well online. And at that point, I was like, man, I could run both and be busy, right? And just basically my whole life is work, or I could choose one or the other. And I was like, if I choose the online one, now I can work, but I could also choose to just be stress-free as much as possible.
I'm looking at my cameraman because it's what's happening to us right now. The podcast is getting so popular that we're, it's just like I have a 9 to 5 and I am working all day, And
at that time I was with my girlfriend at the time, who's my wife now. Right. And I think about my life, right? I think about the way it's going at the moment. How am I going to do when I'm running at a gym? Am I going to be able to have enough instructors? Like, what's it going to be like when I have a family and I'm teaching 6 days a week at night, right? Is that going to affect my family negatively? Because there are pros and cons to running school specifically, not even just the martial arts school. There are pros and cons of running a jiu-jitsu school. And one of the cons are it's very hard to take yourself out of that business. Yeah. It's such a specialty martial art that it takes a very long time for you to actually take yourself out of the classes. So I'm like, this is my break, right? I can now focus more on my family, my future wife, my future kids, and I don't have to show up to a location. So I just kind of rolled the dice, and I was like, let's see what happens. And the fortunate thing is that I rolled the dice, and I hit some good numbers. Yeah, basically. And now I'm at a point where it's very hard for me to go back to that, right? So if somebody was like, would you open up a jiu-jitsu school? I'm like, no, I wouldn't open up a jiu-jitsu school because I'm where I'm at now. I'm very fortunate. The decisions that I've made in life, I've been very fortunate to have some things line up for me.
So let's take a step back. How many kids do you have?
I have two.
You have two ages?
Yeah. 12 years old and 2.
And does your 12-year-old train?
She actually just started training about 4 months ago.
Yeah.
I never put, so she's my stepdaughter, but I've known her since she was about 5 years old. Right.
Okay.
So I've been in her life pretty much. All she knows is me.
Okay.
And we have a very close relationship, and I never really pushed her to do jujitsu, but she developed the interest for probably about 4 months ago, and she started doing it, and she really liked it, and she actually took to it. She took to it very well.
Yeah.
She also dances too. She's very good at dancing. She actually does Bollywood dancing.
Okay.
That's like her first passion.
Yeah.
But she did take to jiu-jitsu, and she really liked it. And my goal was to just make sure she enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Right. No pressure. You like it. You like it. You don't. You don't. Because I just want her to enjoy the activities that she does. Now with the 2-year-old, I'm going to see if she likes it. I'm going to have fun with her as she grows up. And it's the same thing, right? If she likes it and she wants to keep doing it, then she'll do it. If not, then she won't. It's just,
Curious about your suggestion of when, if let's say you ran a school, so when would you take student? Did you have a kids program when you had your school?
I did. I did have a kids program. At that time, it was growing, right? So it was growing. Anybody who was like a smaller kids program, it's always growing.
2 kids.
Anybody, yeah. If I asked, because I was looking around for schools for my daughter that were closer, and anytime somebody said that it was growing, it basically meant that they had a small program. Yeah, essentially. Yeah. And the reason why I was growing because I had such a focus on competition jiu-jitsu at that moment and the adults program, but kids make you money as well. It's just the reality of life as far as making a living. So I did have a kids program. Now I don't really know if there's like a right or wrong time to have them join, but I would say initially the ideal time frame is probably before the age of 11, 12. Okay. Right. Now the reason for that is because once a kid hits the teenage age, right, they're very independent in their mind. Yeah. Right. So now at that point they're doing jiu-jitsu 100% either because they want to or because they don't. Yeah. As they get younger, it's easier to plant them in jiu-jitsu, right? And see if they like it.
It's just what they 13, do. It's mommy and daddy bring me here and I do this at this time.
Exactly, right? So if you bring a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and sometimes even a 10-year-old into jiu-jitsu, it's easier to just plop them in that class and see if they like it, right? Yeah. You bring a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old, it is not easy to do that.
They can't live without their phone for a full hour.
Oh, yeah, exactly. We have a lot of
That's asking a lot, Jason, right?
Yeah. We have a lot of phone rules in our house. Yeah. So, fortunate for that too.
Oh, we got to talk about that off air because we're having that conversation with our 16-year-old right now.
Oh, phone time. I couldn't even imagine. But, so with my daughter, so she's 12, right? So she's in that age range, but it goes to, she did it because she wanted to do it. Okay. Right. It wasn't something that we forced her to do. So I believe before the age of 11, in between 4, 5, and 11, okay, is probably the ideal time that you can just kind of just put them in a class, and see if they like it, and they either embrace it or they don't.
So now you were talking about doing competition training at your school. Do you train every day, a couple of times a week at a school? What is your training regimen like?
So, it varied based on where I was in my jiu-jitsu, right? So I started at the age of 20, and I'm 39 now. I'll be 40 in August. And my first ever competition was probably 2 months after training. Okay. So I was a white belt. I started training 2 months later on. And it was because, I had a wrestling background. I wasn't extremely good at wrestling, but I loved the competition environment. Okay. I just challenge is fun, right? Yeah. If something's challenging for me, it's fun because it's an opportunity for growth, essentially. So I started competing about 2 months in, and then I never stopped competing at that point. And then when I started running a gym, I was, especially as brown belt, because brown belt is the first year that I did the world championships. Okay. Literally the day that I got my purple belt, I said out loud, when I get my brown belt, I'm going to do the worlds. And then I did the Worlds 5 months after that.
Wow.
But so it was like purple belt, I was focusing on competition a decent amount. Brown belt is where the grind really started happening. And I trained every day for the most part. Like, so when I was in between the age of 20 to like 30, I want to say I trained like 6 days a week, sometimes twice a day, 3-4 days a week, especially when I was running a gym.
Yeah.
That was my job. So I was able to show up in the afternoon and show up at night. And then when I knew that there were certain competitions coming up, then the environment was a little different, right? So it was more of like a push pace type of environment. And then I got my brown belt. I started training with like Team Lawyer Irvin.
Okay.
Like, the grind really happened at that point. Like, when you're part of that team, you gotta grind. If you don't, like, you're gonna get smashed.
Yeah. And what about now? What's your training regimen like now? Do you go to actively go to a school? Are you training? Do you have someplace that you go? And you don't have to tell us. We don't want fans to show up looking for you.
It doesn't matter to me. I trained at a school that I sold.
Okay. All right.
So,
okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
So the fortunate thing is when I sold the school, I sold it to somebody who used to be my student.
Okay.
They're not my student now, right? They got their black belt from Jared as well.
Okay.
So around purple belt, his name is Chris Ulbrich. He actually went and lived with Team Lloyd Irvin.
Okay.
So he was like part of like the Metal Chasers house and stuff. I'm not sure if you're familiar.
I'm not. It might be a little bit before my time, and I don't do a lot of competitions anymore.
Yeah. So if you look up like Team Lloyd Irvin and the Metal Chasers, there's a whole thing behind that. So he lived with Lloyd Irvin for about 2 years, and at that point, he wasn't really a student anymore. He was more of just like a teammate. Okay. And he came back before all the Lloyd drama happened. So if you don't know about the Lloyd drama, definitely look that up as well. So he came back, and that's when I was at the point of transitioning out. So I was transitioning out of the school, and he knew that I was transitioning out. And it was basically like he took advantage of the outlier principle. Okay. Right? So he saw an opportunity and gave me the additional opportunity to be able to disconnect in a smooth manner. Okay. Instead of being like, hey, guys, I'm not running a school anymore. Or having like a complete stranger run the gym. Yeah. So he took over the gym, and then he's doing extremely well with it. And because of the fact that I've known him for so long, and him and I are really good friends, and I know all the people who are training, a lot of them were my students as well, and they were really pushing me along. I'm like, you know what? I don't run this school anymore, but why wouldn't I still go there?
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I transitioned out. It took a little while for people to kind of get used to it, because they still thought of me as like the head person. Mm-hmm. But now we're definitely at a point where they know that like Chris is like the main guy, and I just come in and train. Now I teach classes like, maybe once every couple months, because I miss it sometimes. Yeah. Like I do miss running a class. I love teaching classes. It's hard for me to be in a class and not feel passion when I'm teaching it. Yeah. Like I really enjoy it. But it's also cool for me to go to a place that I never left my comfort zone. So even though I stopped running a gym, I didn't have to find a new home.
It's a second home. It's my gym is my second home. I didn't love when I had the transition from my first to my second, but I'm in a lucky position where I've only gone to 2 schools, my first and the one that I've been at now for 4 years. So you become very comfortable. People you may not know this, but all of the people that the 5 or the 4 other co-hosts that we have like a little round robin with are all teammates. I think only one of them isn't at our school anymore, but we've all trained together and currently, all train at the same gym. So I can't imagine going to another gym. You mentioned before that you had somebody, you had a different person promote you at each belt. Were you at the same gym, or did you go to different gyms? Did the coaches changed and you were at the same gym, or different gyms?
I went to different gyms.
Okay.
When I first started doing jiu-jitsu, it was 2001, and in New Jersey, there wasn't a lot of jiu-jitsu around. Yeah. So that was a point where there really wasn't much. So I literally took a ninjitsu class the day before I ever tried jiu-jitsu. Okay. I wanted to be a ninja. I've told this story before to other people, but like I literally went my life as a child, I loved martial arts.
Okay.
I never took like formal martial arts for a very long time, but I wanted to be a ninja. I had ninja claws for my hands and my feet. I had like a blow dart gun. I had nunchucks, all that stuff. And I took a ninjutsu class, and they did open hand striking, and it ruined everything for me.
Yeah.
I have 5 brothers, you know, and we fought.
Oh,
And
open
I was
hand, like slap?
Yeah, they were
Okay.
standing like this and all that stuff, and I was like, man, I would never do this. I was already used to standing in a boxing stance.
Yeah.
And if they would have used like a sword or like Chinese stars or like nunchucks or something like that, I would be a ninja right now.
They would have had you.
Like, I'm not even kidding. I would have never quit. And then I was like, man, I can't do this. So I went home and I Googled best martial art ever created, and then this Gracie Jiu-Jitsu came up.
Yeah.
So then I joined the gym, and then I was with that guy for a year and a half. I didn't really like the environment. Somebody else opened up about an hour away from me. So then I left the school I was at, and I drove about 4 to 6 days a week, an hour away to go train. And then we split from him. And then purple belt was kind of like a weird transition. I got promoted twice to purple belt. So
Somebody
I got
make
promoted.
you start over? Did somebody one of those situations?
They were basically, the second person was like, we got affiliated with them, and they're like, oh, I want you to be a purple belt under me.
Okay.
So they promoted me.
Okay.
And then that person also promoted me to brown belt.
Okay.
And then I got my black belt from a fourth individual as well.
So now,
I don't know if you want.
Do you still compete? Are you still actively competing?
I didn't. I actually did the Masters Worlds this past year.
Okay.
It's by an advantage, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I competed in 7 years. I went from competing 4 times a month up until the age of 32. From 20 to 32, I competed a lot. Like, I did the World Championship twice. I placed at third at the Worlds at brown belt adult division.
Okay.
I placed in the black belt nogi pans. I placed in the ADCC trials.
Okay.
As well. And then I hurt my shoulder really bad when I was 32. So was it 2012? I think it was.
Okay.
And then I was training for competition again, and then I tore my Achilles.
Oh, that's a bad
Yeah,
one.
and then I was training for competition again, and then I got married, and then I had a kid. man, the years just kept going, but I missed it. So like 7 years went by. In my mind, I was still a competitor. So like I loved it. Like just nothing was able to compare to competing and like the adrenaline of it and the challenge of it. Even if I wasn't like an elite level competitor, right? I always felt like I was above average, and I enjoyed going out there and testing myself, win or lose. It didn't really matter because I would lose and I would be pissed off, but I still felt like I learned something, right? I would win and I would be happy, and I still felt like I learned something, and that meant a lot to me. So last year, I was like, man, I want to compete. I was like, it's been so long. And I was at a point in my life, especially with the Grapplers Guide and being the internet person, right? Where I was at a point where there was no need for me to compete.
Yeah.
Right. It was actually probably more of a risk for me to compete. Right. Because let's say I competed last year in the Masters World and I got smashed. The person just made me look like a complete, like white belt.
Yeah.
It's more of a risk because now Jason Scully just got smashed, right?
Yeah.
This guy teaches these online techniques, but I didn't care about any of that. To me, what mattered is just how I felt about what I wanted to do at that moment, right? Because a lot of people I believe a lot of people in my position would have just avoided competing altogether. They would have been like, you know what, I don't need to do this because, like, you know, I'm making money, I'm popular online, I'm able to teach seminars. I don't want my image to get tarnished if I lose. Me, I'm like, man, I miss competing. Like, this was super fun. And before this whole coronavirus thing happened, I was actually planning on doing the Masters World this year as well. So, you know, and the fact is, last year when I was training for competition, it gave me back that feeling of that push. Because when I knew I was competing, like now there's more of a purpose. Right? There's something there's an end goal.
There's a goal, yeah.
yeah, so now my focus was different. I was working on my systems more. I was working on my game. I was very, very scenario based in my training too. I had a schedule and I was grinding. My mind was completely different, meaning like there was no sitting out whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I never sat out anyway. In my mind, you don't sit out unless you're hurt.
Yeah.
You're either tired or you're hurt, right?
Yeah.
If you're tired, you don't sit out. If you're hurt, you sit out. So for me, when I'm like, I ask myself, are you tired or you're hurt? And I'm like, I'm tired. You stay in.
Okay.
So then the competition mindset really like sunk in at that moment where I'm like, you know what, let's do it. Let's grind. Right. And then I was able to feel the adrenaline training. And then, even though I didn't win my first match in the Masters Worlds, the experience solidified why I used to like competing in the past.
Yeah.
And also solidified that even though I'm in a position of popularity where people can judge me, it doesn't matter because it's my life and it's how I feel. So that's kind of like a long story about how I approached it then and even now.
So you mentioned your shoulder. I just got an MRI 2 days ago. I think I have an MCL and a meniscus tear. I'm not even 100% sure where I stand right now. I've got the MRI. I've got to go to the doctor, the orthopedist next week. He'll look at the disc and tell me what's wrong. But you mentioned your shoulder injury, and you smiled a little bit before we went on air about we can go over injuries. But go down your list.
Overall, I've been fortunate that I haven't got tons of injuries in jiu-jitsu. My worst injury in jiu-jitsu was my shoulder. So I believe it was in May of 2012 is when I hurt my shoulder. We were training no-gi, and we were in a scramble. Me and this other person, he was a purple belt at the time. Very, very good. A very good wrestler. And we were in this scramble. And it was one of those scenarios where I was kind of upside down. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know where I was, but I was posting to stop whatever was happening. And all of a sudden I just felt like crack, crack, crack in my shoulder. And I ended up getting a labrum tear. It was like a Bankart tear and a slap tear. I think that was the diagnosis. And I was like, oh man, like it was my first major injury in jiu-jitsu. So essentially 12 years, about 11, 12 years in of doing jiu-jitsu. Wow. I was already a black belt at the time. So that was my first major injury my only major injury of jiu-jitsu actually. And I was like, man, what am I going to do? Like my life flashed before my eyes. And then I would say 30 minutes to an hour, like I just sucked it up. I was like, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? You control what you can control. You can't control what you can't control. That's how life is. Mm-hmm. Right? If you focus on those two things, if you keep that in perspective, then everything's okay. Right? Then it keeps your stress level down.
Yeah.
So I adjusted. I never stopped training. So I basically put my arm in I trained. I wrapped my arm around my belt. Yeah, and I trained with one arm for about 4 months. I was scheduled to get surgery in August. And the reason why I was in August is because I actually had seminars scheduled. And I was like, man, I don't want to lose this money. So let me do it later on. I'm able to function. I'm able to walk. I could still teach jiu-jitsu. And I did some physical therapy. I actually did 2 sessions of physical therapy. They gave me some exercises. I stopped going to physical therapy and I just kept doing those exercises and I kept training jiu-jitsu. The week that I was supposed to get surgery, I canceled it because I was able to do 50 push-ups. I was able to do 50 push-ups and 10 pull-ups without any pain.
Wow.
So I called him up. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to get surgery. I was like, I feel zero pain. I'm able to do push-ups and pull-ups. I was like, I'm not going to get cut up if I don't feel like I'm hurt. That was 8 years later. So since that was, and to that point, I had never had a shoulder injury since.
Okay. You're good. We still got you.
Lost you.
Yeah. You had a little hiccup there. So let's jump in. The reason why we're here, at least the invite and why I reached out. Talk to us about the Academy Quarantine project that you're doing. Let's let people know, and maybe if you can, let's mix in and maybe even want to start with, for those who don't know, tell people exactly what the Grapplers Guide is and what you do.
Okay, so I guess if we start with what the Grapplers Guide is, the Grapplers Guide is a membership website. So it's basically like you sign up, you get access to videos, and you can learn Jiu-Jitsu and grappling. Now it's the Grapplers Guide, it's not the Jiu-Jitsu Guide. So there's Jiu-Jitsu, there's Sambo, there's Judo. We have wrestling for Jiu-Jitsu as well. It's not straight wrestling. We just started adding yoga for grappling too. And there's a multitude of instructors, right? There's Josh Hinger, there's JT Torres, there's Mikey Musumeci, there's Lachlan, there's Craig Jones, myself, Michelle Nicolini, Emily Kwok, like Travis Stevens. It's like a whole list, a whole list of names that you get access to, and you pay one time. That's it. Wow. It's not a monthly fee. It's not a yearly fee. And at the time of this podcast, right, depending on when people listen to it, it's currently $97. So one time, $97. And with those people, you're not getting 5 videos, right? So let's say we take Josh Hinger's Advanced Hinger Team series, 35 videos. Literally a whole DVD set worth. I don't hire people unless I can get a DVD set worth of content. Right? So that's the main. And I do the best I can to pay the athletes well, right? I need to make it worth it for them to be on my site.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I came up with this idea in 2007. I was just a purple belt. And it was one of those things. It's either do it now or do it later. So in my mind, I was like, you know what? I'm not a black belt. People don't really know who I am. I'm going to wait. And then literally the end of that week, I think it was, I was like, you know what? If I wait, it's probably too late. Right? So you throw the crap on the wall, you clean it up as you go. Right? That's pretty much how it goes. So I was like, I have this thing that I always say to myself: doers do, talkers talk. Right? You're either going to do it or you're not. If you have an idea and you think there's like passion behind it, just do it. It either works or it doesn't. So that's pretty much what I did with the Grapplers Guide. And then I kept building it up. It started as just like a basic forum. And in 2012, I think it was, that's when I first really started hiring people. Bradley Bodycomb was actually the first person that I hired to put on my site. And it got such good feedback. I was like, man, let me hire more people. And let me hire more people. And then the Grapplers Guide, was doing well. So I just kept hiring individuals and putting up my own content. And fortunately, people still liked my content as well. And essentially, you get thousands of dollars worth of content. Like if you bought separate DVDs of each of these series, it would probably cost you upwards of $7,000 total. Right. And right now I'm charging $97.
Is that dropped because of what's going on right now? Is that a special, that $97?
Actually, this, I actually raised the price because of this,
really?
What's going on right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So last year in 2019, I did pretty much no sales. The price was $297.
Okay.
And then this year I was like, you know what? I want to make it available to everybody. Like no matter what country you're in, no matter what your currency is, no matter what your income level is, I want to make it available to everybody. And the Grapplers Guide has been around for 13 years. This isn't like a fly-by-night website. Yeah. So I was like, you know what? Let's make it $87 because I want the whole entire world to be a part of the Grapplers Guide. And fortunately, if you go on Reddit, if you're Reddit popular, you're popular in Jiu-Jitsu. Okay. Right? That's the way the internet world is now with Jiu-Jitsu. If you get Reddit popular, you're going to be popular in Jiu-Jitsu.
Noted. Note that, Bo.
No, seriously.
For us. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
Right. If you can attach to the Reddit community, it's the most popular forum community in Jiu-Jitsu right now. Almost 200,000 people who do Jiu-Jitsu are on Reddit, and you get positive vibes from them. Mm-hmm. You will grow much more. And the reason why that's important is because you are attaching to people, right? You're attaching to people who train. It's not just Facebook ads, right? It's posting on your profile. It's not just posting on your fan page or sending out a newsletter, right? It's a community of people who are saying, yes, I support you. So I've been very fortunate. The Grapplers Guide has been supported, and then now there's just tons of advocates. So basically, I don't even really need to advertise for the Grapplers Guide that much. People just post, is the Grapplers Guide good? I don't touch anything for the most part. I answer questions if I feel like they need to be answered, but I always check to see if anybody's talking about the Grapplers Guide. but they post and I just watch. And I'm very fortunate that I would say like 9 times out of 10 or even 10 times out of 10, people say, yeah, dude, Grapplers Guide is probably the first thing you should be buying before anything.
Okay.
And
so you were talking about the pricing. You mentioned the pricing. You said you you went up actually because of the coronavirus?
Yeah, so I went up, and the reason why it was actually $87.
Okay.
And because of the relief project that I'm doing, I bumped it up to $97 because I wanted to give a little bit of buffer room for people to make a little bit more money.
Okay.
But at the same time, I also have costs as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So because I'm giving 40% of the profits.
Okay.
So I figured I would, bump it up only $10. It won't create a sticker shock.
Yeah.
Right. So for people who don't know what sticker shock is, it's basically like something can be so useful and so worth it, right? Where it still creates a sticker shock. Like $297 creates sticker shock. It could be the best program in the world, and it could be the best investment they ever make in jiu-jitsu, but that $297 makes people go, I don't know if I can afford that.
Yeah.
So I bumped it up $10 so that way I could still avoid the sticker shock, but I can also create some buffer. And if we get back to the relief project, because I don't want to go off on a tangent, all this happened, and it happened so suddenly. And it's very hard for me to sit around and do nothing. Right? So when I see something happen, if I'm in a position of positivity and I have the ability to take that position of positivity and try to use it for other people, I'll do what I can to do that. Right. So this was a scenario where I saw this happen, and immediately people's gyms had to close down. And in my mind, I'm like, man, what are people going to do? Right. Like I love jujitsu, and I know what it's like to be a school owner. Yeah. Right. So I thought about what would it be like if I was running a gym now? Right? How would I be feeling? Would I be panicking? Would I be trying to figure out how my life is going to be? So I was like, you know what? I'm doing well with the Grapplers Guide. I'm very fortunate that life is good. The cards have played out well for me. Let me see if I could take those cards and spread them out to other people. And I figured if I do it, at least for 30 days as well, like it won't really hurt me. Also, we've been raising about $1,000 a day so far.
Wow.
And that goes, to the people believing in the Grapplers Guide and spreading the word too. And I'm very fortunate for that because they're helping out other people too. Now, essentially the way it works is I have 2 options. There's option 1, option 2, and they're not mutually exclusive.
Okay.
What I mean is an academy contacts me and they say, hey, I would like to be part of the relief project. They fill out information on a Google form, just information I need to kind of like accept them, and then take their academy name and I put it on the list of the checkout page. Let's say, for example, you have Milton BJJ, right? Somebody selects Milton BJJ, they sign up, you're automatically going to get 40% of that sale. That's yours. Okay. No matter what. And the reason for that is because it was a student, it might have been a friend, or it might have been somebody who says, you know what, I've heard of this person and I want to support them. And they're basically buying the membership and donating part of the profits to you directly. Okay. Right? So people have the ability to earn guaranteed money.
Okay.
Now, some people are going to take advantage of it more than others. So there's some people who've made a few $100s already. There's some people who made $40, right? Your effort directly reflects on what you get in regards to that option.
Okay.
Then there's option number 2. So that's an open option. I'm sorry, the other option is the open pot option. So this is where any sales that an academy was not selected goes into the open pot. So every single sale, doesn't matter if it's my money or somebody else's money, goes towards helping somebody. But the money that goes to me directly, 40% of that goes to an open pot.
Okay.
So that just keeps raising and raising and raising. And what I do with the open pot money is at that point, that doesn't directly go to anybody. Then I have to kind of understand what your situation is, right? What do you need help with? Why do you need help? Are you just want the money because you want to get money?
Yeah.
Right? Or do you want the money because you feel because you need this because it's really going to help you? So I wish I could help everybody, but I can't. So that's going to be the harder part of this process, is making decisions.
So will you choose that open pot? Would that go to people that were also signed up, that submitted and signed up? So
the
that
way it's
drop
going to
down
work
that you could choose from would also be the people that you might award that open pot money to?
The way it's going to work is the open pot is only going to go to the people who signed up.
Okay. To the
reason
academies
for
that
that,
signed up, correct?
Yeah, I have there's like 100 academies that signed up.
Okay, very cool.
And the reason for that is because those people told me they need help.
Okay.
Right?
Oh.
They said to me, you know what? I need help. I want to be a part of this. And in my opinion, there's no reason to not be part of the option where someone can directly select you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why wouldn't you be? Even if you've got no sales, why wouldn't you take that opportunity to try to say, hey, if you want to support me during these times.
Yeah.
And not only that, you're going to get access to something that helps your jiu-jitsu as well. So you're not just giving me money, you're investing in yourself, and you're also helping us too. And I think it's a better way of doing it, at least for me, instead of saying, hey, can you donate this money? Because the reality of it is the time that we're experiencing now, it's not a situation where, Milton BJJ is having trouble. Let's say your academy was only having trouble. Let's say, God forbid you had a fire in your academy. Insurance wasn't covering anything. It's not the same thing as me saying, hey, we're having a profit share donation to help Milton BJJ get their academy back. Mm-hmm. That's not the world that we're in right now. The world we're in right now is everybody's experiencing this. The whole entire world is experiencing this. So I wanted to do something where I can help as many people as I realistically can. Right? I do have a rational thought behind it, an understanding. I can't help everybody. And it's a constant reminder that I'm also telling people, because I don't want them to think that this is going to be their saving grace. Right? I just want to do something for somebody and do it without doing nothing for nobody.
I understand. Yeah. Listen, I think it's, I'm sure other people have thanked you, but for the BJJ practitioners out there and the people that, know that their gyms are closed, I'll say thank you for doing this. This is just, it's the first time that I saw anybody doing anything for other people. I've seen everybody jump online with their online tutorials all of a sudden, and they've had to. I get it. But it's kind of like, I think they're a little bit late to the game. And this is a good option. Somebody that's been around for as long as you have with the system in place, if they could be part of this, you're going to cap out at how many students you have that are going to go online and join your system because they're paying you the monthly fee. I feel like people are doing it because they don't want to lose the monthly fee. And I get that. I'm not going to cancel my membership. I don't care how long this takes. My gym will be, I've got an MCL tear and I'm still going to be paying my membership fees. And I encourage anybody out there that can do it to not cancel. Pay your fees. You will get it back at some point. Think about the family, the community that you receive from that place. Just what your coaches have done for you, what they go through. You know better than I. You don't make a ton of money running a gym. It's a constant battle at new memberships. So I want to thank you for doing this, and I hope that a lot more people continue to support. You mentioned that you're making about $1,000 a day in that pot that's going towards just that pot.
Okay, it's $1,000 a day total raised, right? Okay. So it is between the direct commissions and the open pot. Okay. Most of the money is in the open pot. Okay. The other thing that I forgot to mention is that I'm also taking $10,000 of my own money and put it in the open pot, right? Mm-hmm. So that's no sales whatsoever. Like I'm literally just taking $10,000 from the Grapplers guide and already got it started. Okay. So then that way we know, first of all, that I'm serious about it, right? Mm-hmm. Where I'm like, I'm not making any money. Yeah, I'm not making any profit off of this. Yeah. Right? So, in 2020, I was doing pretty well. And I'm going to get affected. I'm going to get affected by the coronavirus quarantine. The longer this goes on, the less sales that I'm going to get. The less sales all online jiu-jitsu academies are going to get. Because as time goes on, jiu-jitsu is no longer the priority, right? Yeah. Your family is the priority. How you're going to feed this priority, how you're going to do these certain things. That's what's priority. So, I just want people to understand that I'm not doing this so I can make money, because 1,000%, there's no possible way I'm making money off of doing this. Yeah. But I feel like, because I feel like I'm in a better place than most, fortunately, right? For the type of individual that I am, it would be a lost chance to try to help people, right? Like I said, once again, you only live one life, right? You drive, you live it, you help people, you wing it, or you either wing it and you just kind of live through the world and just say, okay, I'm here, or you take from people.
Yeah.
Right. There's givers, there's takers, and there's people who just coast.
Yeah.
So the goal is for me to, if I have the ability to give and have the ability to help, then I'll help, and the other plus is, karma, right? Maybe some good karma will come my way, because I had this conversation with my wife too. There's no such thing as a truly selfless act.
Okay.
Right. And the reason for that is people do nice things also because they feel good about it.
Yeah.
Right. If I didn't feel good about doing this, then I wouldn't do it. Right. So that's the selfish part. The selfish part is that it feels good to be able to help. Mm-hmm. So, hopefully I can do the best I can to help people. It is a fight too, right? Because I can see the numbers. The numbers aren't the same as they used to be in February. Mm-hmm. If I compare my January, my February numbers to March, it's much, much lower. And it is a direct reflection to what's going on in the community right now, because the world is affected. Yeah. And I give daily updates. I do video updates, and I send emails out to the people who are on the list. We have a private Facebook group, and I post on my phone, and I say, hey guys, here's an update for today. And I don't even just give an update. I talk about why we might have made as much as we did, or why we might have made less. Okay. Because I also don't want to give false hope, right? Yeah. I'm never a fan of a false sense of security. Reality is reality. So I don't want people to think like, oh my goodness, like this is going to save my everything. If I give you $300, that's $300 you didn't have. Yeah. And that's just, I'm just doing the best I can in the crazy situation that we're in, basically.
Yeah. And I go back to, and I'll say this, and then we can move on. A lot of time, you're a gym owner, so I guess I'm preaching to the choir here. When I hear guys complain about buying a gi from the academy, especially like a smaller one, if you're doing your gis yourself, my academy just went to the Fight Sports Academy, the official Fight Sports gis. But when I used to hear guys complaining or like sharing a link to some website that gives cheap gis, if I ever bought a gi on my own and I walked into my gym with a gi, I bought a gi. I made sure I also bought one from the coach. I've made T-shirts for years. I walk in with my T-shirts. Anytime he comes out with a T-shirt, I make sure I buy some of his. I'm fortunate that I'm able to do that. I know that everybody can do that, but I don't think that people always understand that. Yeah, maybe that gi's a little bit more expensive, than the one online, but you're helping support that gym. And if you love your gym, and I do love my gym, that extra $20, it goes so far for that gym. It goes so far for that academy. That coach appreciates it, and you see they're able to do more for you. So, when I see people complaining about, I had somebody tell me one time, I don't pay more than $20 for a T-shirt, and he's selling them for $25. I was like, really? Really, that extra $5 is why you're not going to support your academy? And it always bothered me that he said that. And he's somebody that I consider a good friend. But, I didn't really address it with him in a way. I said, I'll pay the extra $5. I'm just supporting the school. So for all of you guys out there that can, continue to support your schools, don't wince every time, they come out with a new gi or, some new T-shirts. You're going to support that academy. With that being said, so, any final words on how people can sign up? I know you said there's a form that they fill out. Do you want to direct anybody, give out the URL, the website link to where people should go to sign up?
They can go to grapplersguide.com/relief project. Okay. And they could fill out the academy form. Initially, I was stopping taking academies on Wednesday, but I'm extending it because I know some people need more help. Mm-hmm. So I'll keep it open until the end of next week. And the reason why that I am restricting it, right, is because if I get to 400 academies, right, then it's going to be a more difficult. Yeah, then it's like the more tickets that are bought in the lottery, the less chance you have to win, right? Mm-hmm. Right. So if I give people some opportunity, it's better than giving 1,000 people the littlest bit of opportunity. Like, so if I want to be able to help people, but also kind of give people a realistic chance of actually like earning some sort of funds if I can do it. The people who are putting some sort of initiative in, if I could see that, even if they don't make any money through direct commissions, right? Mm-hmm. If I see some sort of initiative where they're sharing maybe like a graphic that I made, or if they're posting something and they're talking about it, then that's going to actually push me to look at them a little bit more. And the reason for that is because effort means a lot to me, right? When you make effort, if you're making that effort to try to help yourself survive, right? Then I see that you're serious about it, right? Instead of being like, you know what, I'm going to sign up to this and I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Right? This isn't about winning the lottery. This is about what are you actually doing to proactively make your life better in the situation that we're in right now. So if you sign up for this project and it seems like you're just signing up and just hoping you could win the lottery, the chances of you actually getting funds are a bit lower, in my opinion. If you sign up and actually see that there's effort. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to spam forums. It doesn't mean you have to spam Facebook groups, because I tell people not to do that. I don't want you to be like, hey, click my link, or hey, do this. Like that's not what this is about. This is about saying to your students, hey guys, the Grapplers Guide is doing this thing where they're helping out academies. Our academy is on the list. So if you guys do decide to join the Grapplers Guide, you're going to get access to something that's going to help you, and it's also going to help the academy as well. It's a very simple, paragraph of words that I believe is not a sales pitch. It's not a pushy thing. But by seeing that, at least I see people are making effort.
So again, you're going to extend that sign-up time till when?
To the end of next week.
The end of next week. And how long are you going to be running the program? It's going to go till April?
Yeah, so it'll go to April 23rd. So April 4th.
Okay.
Actually, April 5th. So April 5th will be the date where I'm not going to take any more academies.
Okay.
April 23rd is how long this is going to last.
Okay.
Now, I know the government and a lot of a lot of state run government as well. They're giving aid and they're giving loans to businesses too, and that's going to help a lot of people. But one thing that doesn't take into consideration is that if this goes on for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, it's immediate attrition, right? Attrition rate for an academy is a problem, right? So it's something you're always trying to manage. But imagine how life is when everybody's gone at once.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say you had 200 students, and then you can't charge them anymore because it's just not realistic and it's not fair to everybody. And then you went from 200 students to 0. And now 2, 3, 4 months later on, you're finally able to open up your academy. How many of those 200 students are you actually going to get back? You're probably lucky if you get 100 right away.
Yeah.
It's going to take a while. So those loans and those grants don't take into the fact that not only did this affect their person's business, their person's livelihood, and the ability to like take care of people, it actually affected their student count.
Yeah. And then, I mean, you're going to have, I was talking to my wife about this when I was telling her, what you were doing. We also have to factor in call it the boogeyman, which is parents being scared to send their kids right back to jiu-jitsu for fear of who's sick, who might have it. This is still around. I mean, this isn't just going to disappear one day, so the boogeyman is going to, scare a lot of parents from bringing their kids back, or even adults from just training again. So again, goes hand in hand with what you're saying, who's coming back? You have 200 students. How many are actually going to come back through that door day one when you open?
Yeah, there's going to be an unfortunate trickle effect.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly how it's going to go. I live in New Jersey.
Yeah.
45 minutes away from New York City. Like, we're literally in the hotbed of whatever's going on in the United States at the moment. New Jersey is like this tiny little state, and has the second most cases in the country.
Yeah.
And the fact that like New York is like a stone's throw away, that doesn't help the situation as well. So like, you know, it's different now. Nobody's allowed to come to our house. It's just like it's a crazy scenario. I mean, the positive to it is, you know, we're going for walks more.
Yeah.
You know, spend more time with family and everything. We're outside a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, so you got to do the best you can to think about the positives as well. But you know, we're all in it together.
We'll get through this. So let me go through. I mentioned my speed round. We have a group of 4 questions. Changes ever so slightly once in a while, but these are just some general questions we ask. We've all answered as hosts, and we ask of all our guests. Excuse me. Okay, so we'll start with, if you could go back in time, what would you tell the white belt you? We're talking about the moment before you stepped into the academy, or you walked into the academy, the moment before you walked on the mat for the very first time. What would you go back and tell yourself?
I would tell myself to make sure that I'm focusing on fun first.
Okay.
Right? Because if it's not fun, then you shouldn't be doing it. And get as good as you can at guard retention.
Okay.
Guard retention, guard retention, guard retention.
Okay.
If I were to start over and I were to teach a white belt from scratch, literally for the first year, if I could, without dealing with their ADD brain, right, where like their mind is all over the place, I would literally teach them pass prevention, guard retention, and sweep prevention for a year. I don't even think I would teach them submissions, because if your guard does not get passed, right, you're not worrying, right?
Yeah.
If you're not worrying about being swept, you're not worrying, right? And along the lines, submission awareness, meaning like understanding where somebody can possibly attack you in submission when you're inside their guard.
Yeah.
That's what I would tell my white belt self. I would say, listen, you need to be the best pass preventer ever.
Yeah. I talk a lot about the book Jiu-Jitsu University. I'm sure you know that book. And pretty much the chapter on white belt is and he touts Sal Ribeiro touts, I teach my white belts how to survive. That's the whole. That's the white belt chapter. So I definitely agree.
I would also tell them. I would also tell my white belt self to not play close guard.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait.
Yeah. There's a controversy in the world, right? So people think there's so many people who think that white belts should be learning close guard first, and I don't agree.
Okay.
You know, the reason we won't get into too much because I could probably make a whole episode about this.
Okay.
But the biggest reason for this is because open guard is one of the hardest things to play as a white belt, right? It creates an overwhelming sensation. It is something that, like, as soon as your closed guard is open, right? If you do not have a good open guard, you're worried. You're basically like, oh my goodness, my closed guard is open. If you get good at open guard first, it gives you the ability, in my opinion, to choose to play as much closed guard as you want. Because if the person opens your closed guard, who cares? You're already good at open guard.
I still watch your closed guard video because of that, and I'm so much more comfortable on my back because of that video, because I feel like I have so many more tools in my toolbox. So I think there comes a point, whatever belt it is for an individual, I can't say, but opening your guard for me is a trap. Is my trap. I kind of know when I open where I'm going based on how they're trying to get out of my guard, what their strengths and weaknesses. So I definitely agree with you there. So let's go to the next question here. So other than achieving the rank of black belt, which you've done many moons ago, what is your ultimate goal in jiu-jitsu?
My ultimate goal in jiu-jitsu is,
what would you like your legacy? What would you like to leave behind?
Just to kind of like keep helping people, right? Keep helping people get better. And that's the purpose of the Grapplers Guide. The Grapplers Guide, literally the slogan initially was dedicated 100% to the improvement of your grappling performance, right? That's pretty much what it is. And if you go on our Facebook group, there's no BS. People are not allowed to post memes. They're not allowed to post street fight videos. They're allowed to do like dumb stuff, essentially, because it deviates from the purpose of what the Grapplers Guide is. The Grapplers Guide is dedicated to helping people get better, and that's my ultimate goal. And I think that's also why it gets a lot of praise, right? I think that's where there's why there's a lot of advocates for the Grapplers Guide, because they understand that it's not just about people signing up and me making money. I legitimately want people to get better. Like, I want people to improve because they joined the Grapplers Guide. And just in general, like when I teach seminars, I don't teach them walk in there, go through the motions, and walk out. And people ask me, how long is the seminar? I say it's however long you need it to be. Okay. That's how it is. When I teach a seminar, like it's there's no block like timed out. It's the day, right? So if my seminar is at 5 o'clock, it's from 5 o'clock to whatever. I'm like, you guys can ask me questions however long you want. And I even give money back. I tell people, if I did not give you the ability to get helped in any way, I will give your money back. So that is my goal in jiu-jitsu, is to be able to help as many people as possible get better at it, because if they get better at it, they're going to enjoy it and they're going to experience the overall positive effects of it. Okay. Right.
All right. So next question, what's the craziest jiu-jitsu related thing that's ever happened to you on or off the mat?
The craziest jiu-jitsu related thing. I got to think, man. My life is kind of boring when it comes to
We usually get it. People usually answer this with injuries. Oh, I broke this, snapped that, tore this.
Yeah. Well, for me, it wasn't really me getting injured myself. There was 2 times where I had students dislocate their fingers. Ooh. And like, you dislocate your finger, it goes from like being straight to now like crooked. Yeah. Right. This happened twice, and both times I reacted the same exact way, where the students dislocated their fingers. I walked up to them. I said absolutely nothing. There was no panic, and I just went like this and went boop, and I just popped their fingers back into place twice. There was another time where I was training with Edson Carvalho, and he was another grinder. Like it was a tough training session. He was very good at judo. Extremely good. And I got my blue belt from him.
Okay.
And one of my training partners, we were training really hard, and he ended up throwing up on the mat. Oof. And Edson's like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you doing that?" So my training partner, he runs off the mat. He didn't have any shoes on, obviously. He steps off the mat, and then Edson's like, "Why do you not have any shoes on?" And then he goes to get his shoes, and then Edson's like, "Why are you not on the mats?" It was just like a completely insane scenario where I was just like, "What is happening right now?" Like everything was just like, "Why are you doing this?" Like he was one of those instructors that like he did it as a joke. He walked around with like a bamboo stick.
Okay.
Where like people were training, and he would like smack him with a bamboo stick. He would choke us out with scarf hold. We would tap, and he'd be like, "Why you tap? That's not a submission. Why you tap?" And I'm like, "Oh my goodness! Like, what is happening here?" So, yeah, those experiences were pretty crazy.
Awesome. All right. So our last question, and I always say this. Me saying this is going to get old to our listeners, but I say this is probably the most important question that you will ever answer in your jiu-jitsu career. Now, most of the time, the people I'm asking haven't trained as long as you do, so or you have. So, but I like this is a point of contention here amongst myself and my co-host. Yes or no, and why? Do you wash your gi belt?
Yes.
You do. All right.
Yes.
Okay, we're on Team Wash the Belt.
I do not wash it all the time. I don't wash it every training session, but I do wash it. I mean, come on, like bacteria and germs and all that stuff, it gets on the belt, right? Yeah. And plus, how do you expect your gi belt to get frayed as quickly as possible?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
That's cheating.
If you're trying to get that faded look, especially as a black belt, if you're trying to get that faded look and you want to get like those frays on the ends, you need to wash your belt as much as possible. But yeah, especially when there's a time that I get soup, like I feel like I trained hard, I'm soaking wet. Everything goes in the wash. You know, the only thing I don't like about washing my belt is it shrinks.
Yeah.
So usually I have to get like a belt that's a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Because I wash and dry everything. I dry my gis, I dry my belts. But yes, I do believe you should wash your belt.
Yes.
Like,
you heard
your
it here,
skills
folks.
do not go away. Your skills do not go away if you wash your belt. But you know what comes? Staph infection, ringworm, and all that other stuff.
I wish Junior was here to hear this. All right, we got one for Team Wash Your Belt. Thank you so much for doing this, Jason. We're going to get this episode up as quickly as we can. I'm going to put the link to Grappler's Guide and the sign-up form in the description, both on the podcast sound and on YouTube. So we'll definitely give as much support as we can here. We'll continue to post. I wanted to give you an opportunity. Is there anybody that you wanted to shout out? Well, we kind of said before, you may not be kind of in that sponsor realm, but anybody you want to say hello to?
Not really. My wife, my daughter.
Shout out to my wife and
Lena
kids who will not watch this.
Yeah, family. I'm a family guy too, so I love my family. As far as businesses, just Grappler's Guide. That's it.
All right.
I represent myself. I don't really have sponsors.
You're in a good place. You're in a good place. Bo, this is where we're going to be in a few years.
Grappler's Guide, grapplersguide.com. Check it out. Seriously, if you join it, I'm telling you straight up, you're going to wonder why you didn't join it like years ago.
You will see my sign up by tomorrow morning. Once we got to pack up and close up the studio, but you will see me on there.
My programmers, like I said, the Grappler's Guide has been around for 13 years. I'm literally at this moment redeveloping the whole entire site.
Really?
So it's not even like, oh, join the Grappler's Guide, I'm going to close it next year. I have a programming team that I've had for like the past 4-5 years, and they're redeveloping the whole site. We're turning into a course program where you can mark off your lessons and track what you watched and everything. So
I'm almost embarrassed
cool stuff to come.
I've talked about you for so long. I'm talking to you, and I'm not a member, so that's going to change today.
Yeah, I don't know what your problem is, man.
I feel like I really should be apologizing. I'm sorry, Jason.
Yeah.
Listen,
it's not acceptable until I see that credit card receipt statement.
We're gonna tell our listeners to stick around. We're gonna go over a little housekeeping and tell them what's new. But we're going to let you go. I appreciate you so much. Again, thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing what you're doing for the jiu-jitsu community and these academies. And, again, anything we can do to help, let us know if you'd like to come on again and talk about it, when you start awarding things. Listen, anytime you want to come, this is a friendly place for you to come and talk. And maybe if it's just talking about jiu-jitsu, we could do that too. All right, brother?
Cool. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thank you very much,
take
man.
Care.
You take care too.
Peace.
Take care, man.
Take it easy.
All right, guys. I appreciate you guys sticking with us. Wow. I wish I had a whole group of people here to talk to about that. That's he's amazing. I really I love what he's got going on. But we'll try to talk to we'll circle back with all the guys, with Junior and Janet, hopefully Raul and Mauricio. But big shout outs to everyone who's helped get us here. We're always talking about Fight Back CBD. They've been with us from the beginning. So remember, if you submit a question that we use on the show, Fight Back CBD gives us 2 bottles every episode to give away to listeners. If I'm using 4 questions on the show, we're getting 2 bottles, and I figure out who's going to get them. I usually ask you if you want to take the CBD, because not everybody, maybe it's somebody's in law enforcement, or somebody just doesn't want to try it, or is in a state that they're not allowed to receive it. I let you tell me if you want to take it, and if you don't, it'll go to the next winner. But let's just go down the list real quick and talk about the giveaways. Some of these things have changed, and some things that are going on have changed. So I think it's worth you guys sticking around. So as always, like and comment on the YouTube video, and you're going to get entered to win a $50 gift card from the jujitsudummies.shop. And you also want to subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe to the channel. That just helps us immensely getting to our goals of being able to just do different things, actually different features open up for you on YouTube as you get closer to 1,000 subscribers. If you order from Fightback CBD, which you should, go to fightbackcbd.com. Use code JJD to get 15% off your order. Also, again, Choke Responsibly, which you see on, well, you may not see it because the geese are covering them up, but chokeresponsibly.com was our original t-shirt site. It is now jujitsudummies.shop, the official podcast store, and you can get 10% off your order with Dummies Pod 16. We just put up our new ranked rash guards for men, and that's as of today, as the day that we're shooting. We'll have the women's rash guards and rash guards for kids. They won't be ranked. They'll just have the white belt for the kids, but for the women and the men, you'll have ranked guards, so white to black belt. You've got backpacks, coffee mugs, different things like that on the website as well. So, dig in a little bit and you'll find all that stuff. Podcast patron winners. We're going to be awarding, going forward, the patron program is going to have 2 giveaways. We're going to give away not only to, I shouldn't call it the patron program, I should say, as a giveaway, we're going to give away to a listener who submitted a question the same package or a similar package that we're giving to our podcast patrons. So we're going to be giving away 2 full minimum of $100 worth of Jiu-Jitsu swag every month. So we'd love your support on Patreon, but if you can't, and you're a listener who submits questions often, you're automatically opting into receiving the $100 worth of swag every month. Anyone out there that would like to work with us, sponsor the show, donate products for giveaways, please reach out by email or social media. It's at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies pretty much everywhere, right? IG, Facebook, Twitter. You can visit or contact us on jujitsudummies.com. You can send an email to info@jujitsudummies.com. I get all that stuff. You can communicate with me directly, and I handle all the social media, so it's me answering you if you ask a question or if you submit a question for the show. Our contact page on jujitsudummies.com allows you to suggest a person that you want to see or hear on the show. So please do that. We do reach out to those people, and we invite them on the show. So again, thank you to Flow Kimonos and Jits Kings for the gis that we won. This is the last episode that you're going to see them up here because we're going to be choosing 2 winners for the month of March, and we're going to be shipping these out along with some foundation mugs, decals, and some gi patches. Okay. Again, if you want to support us on the show, it's what helps keep us on the air. Go to patreon.com/Jiu-Jitsu Dummies. You can join and support, but automatically be entered in to win the $100 worth of Jiu-Jitsu swag every single month. Current patrons include, number 1, we have our newest patron, Eric Perkins. Eric, please send me an email. Hopefully you're hearing this, but I'm going to reach out to you. I want to get your belt rank. I want to get the school that you train at, give you a little bit of a better shout out than I'm doing here today. Britt Tovar, or Tovar, you're going to tell me. You'll correct me, I'm sure. You'll hit me up online, tell me which one it should be. But Britt has been with us since earlier in March. We appreciate her so much. She posts a ton. We're always reposting her stuff in our stories, so we love you, Britt. James Fisher, he's the winner of the piece that we had from Diane Portman. He just got that, so looking for some pictures from him. CJ Carroll in Mission 22, big shout out. Chuck Reddoor, who has been with us since the beginning and just creates the funniest memes, not ones that you always see because I'm not sure that I could always post them, like the last one he sent about Abu Ghraib, but I may man up and actually post that one. Damian Soto and Robert Santiago, again, 2 more of our patrons. We really appreciate everything that you guys do, from the reposting to just being a patron. So we love you guys for that. This is a big change, and this is something that's going to affect the show and the foundation in a very positive way. We wanted to mention Junior's already been an ambassador for the We Defy Foundation. I just got approved to become an ambassador for the We Defy Foundation. So we're going to talk more in the coming episodes about how we're going to be working with them, how that affects the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies Foundation, because they do what we were trying to do, which was provide scholarships or to help people find Jiu-Jitsu. So we want to thank TJ and Anthony for getting us approved, but stay tuned. We're going to do some more with them. Hopefully we'll have their logo on the backdrop here, but we're going to figure out how we can work with them the best, whether it's supporting financially or getting out and spreading the word. For those of you who don't know who We Defy who they are and what they do. They provide combat veterans coping with military-connected disabilities. They provide them with a long-term means to overcome their challenges with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and fitness training. So that's what they do. That's what we were trying to do. So, it's we're not going to step on their toes, but we're going to really push to help them out. Lastly here, the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies Foundation. You can find us on Instagram at the JJD Foundation, on Twitter at the JJ Dummies FDN, and then our GoFundMe for the foundation is in the description. We're probably going to shut that GoFundMe down soon and then restart it, because anything that we raise in the current GoFundMe, a portion of those proceeds are going to go to We Defy. We're going to then probably launch a new one that's specific to what we're doing, how we're changing, if we're still going to be doing it with first responders and children, and just not award to the military veterans and let them do that. We're going to figure that all out. It's all positive. It's all a good thing. So stay tuned for more of that. Want to thank Bo for coming out and shooting today. I want to thank him for staying away from me, for staying more than 6 feet away from me today. Where's my buzzer? Hold on. So want to thank you for coming out. Hopefully we can get this one out to you guys real quick. That's all we got for you today, guys. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for watching if you're seeing us on YouTube. Thank you again to Jason. It's amazing. Go support thegrapplersguide.com. And we'll be back soon, guys. Stay safe, stay healthy. Us.